2018. We have a quorum and the agenda was properly posted?
Yes.
All right, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I didn't triple this.
No, you're good, you're fine.
All right, next item is public appearances, public's opportunity to speak about any subject that is not a specific agenda item.
That's an agenda
That's
item.
agenda, okay. All right, item 5, discuss and consider minutes of the village board meeting of July 16th, 2018. Any comments, corrections, additions?
I move to approve.
Second. Motion by Troy, second by John Williams to approve. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Item 6 is a closed session. At this time, I'll move that the Village of Cottage Grove Village Board enters into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 1985, Parent 1, Parent F, considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons, except where paragraph B applies, which, if discussed in public, would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data or involved in such problems or investigations. Operator license applications. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, a second. We'll need a roll call vote.
All right. Allen,
Aye.
Elmore,
Aye.
Henrik,
Aye.
Lindberg,
Aye.
Radcliffe, Russell,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
7-0.
Okay, we're now in closed session.
So you got a busy week this week, huh?
I do.
Yeah. I'm not sure we both for.
All right.
Have you decided to do
Did that go okay?
Yeah.
That went okay?
Yeah, very, very
Okay.
much so. And he was appreciative and it was explained to her what just happened in about as positive way as you could.
Okay. Do we need any action then on number 7 in open session?
I would just move the table.
Okay. I'll move to table item number 7 till our August 20th meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to table item 7 till the August 20th meeting. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Item 8, new business, discuss and consider Cottage Grove or CG Silver Badger LLC developer agreement.
There's a memo in your packet just outlining the general financial terms. We didn't hear anything today back from the developer, so we'd assume that they're okay with the general language. Essentially the agreement would be an 8-year agreement. The developer would improve the property up to minimum of $3.7 million of value by January 1, 2021. And in turn, through their full payment of property taxes, they'd be reimbursed $50,000.
Okay.
And if they fall short of that, those payments would, those reimbursable payments would be reduced proportionally.
Okay. It says in your memo that's an increase of $1.5 million. Is that beyond what Godorzi's was when he owned?
Right, so the value right now of the building is $2,132,900.
Okay.
So, yeah, an increase of $1,567,100 to get to the 3.7.
Okay. All
And then
right.
I'm just curious, do we know what the building sold for? Is that none of our business?
Probably be public record, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Eventually.
I don't know,
Yeah.
I was just curious.
yeah.
Not sure how to access it, but
They
yeah.
were pretty good to work with. I don't think they would, if we said, what did it sell for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not really contingent on anything.
Nope.
I'm sure that they would tell us.
Okay.
Okay.
Lee, any other comments?
No, not really. Between Matt, Aaron, and myself, we worked hard on working through the agreement language, also consultation with Greg, and then sending it to the developer's attorney. You can often tell how things are going to go because, you know, they hang up on you if you say, what did you think of the language? But he seems real good to work with, and they would like to get this taken care of as soon as possible. So what we would be asking tonight is for the board to approve the developer agreement and to finalize the developer agreement along the guidelines that are in here. And what we will tell you is that if we would deviate from those guidelines in any way, then we would come back to you and tell you what that's all about.
Okay. Works for me. Any thoughts, comments?
I noticed one little typo on the first page.
You know, you would not be the first one to find a typo in this one. For some reason, it was like my fingers were getting fat or something, so.
Just a little apostrophe on after the fourth whereas, the parties acknowledge the village's responsibility.
Okay,
That's all.
all right. Okay.
Otherwise, it was just.
Aaron and Matt seem to take great enjoyment out of calling me. Not so fast, Jim.
Okay. Well, good.
I'll make a motion then to approve the development agreement.
I second.
Okay, motion by John Williams, second by Jeff Lundberg to approve. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I think the other thing to
Motion
keep in mind
passes.
is from a economic development point of view, this eliminates one of the two major areas that have not developed. And we're constantly reminded by looking across the street, but this was a big one.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
It's in good hands now, it seems like.
Yeah, and a lot of people mistake the Godorsey building for village property, and they wonder why we haven't done something like, we had no control, it's
Yeah.
private property.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, on to next item, discuss and consider operators licenses for July 2018 to June 2019 for Dina Fogelberg and Jordan Bueller. Looking at these, I didn't see any issues. Matt, any problem with those?
No problem.
Okay, sounds good. If that's the case, I'll make a motion to approve Dina and Jordan for the coming year.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve Dina Fogelberg and Jordan Bueller for June 18 to June 2019, July 18 to June 2019, sorry. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Moving on, discuss and consider September 3rd Village Board meeting date. I think you saw Matt's memo about starting with the budget process and wondering if we could switch to, I guess it's a Wednesday, September 19th? Matt?
Yeah, well, first of all, the September 3rd, that's Labor Day.
Oh,
Generally,
yeah.
when we land on a holiday, unless there's something pressing later that week, we could have a special meeting, but we don't foresee that now, so if the board is okay, we could cancel that meeting, pending anything coming up that needs action. And then, we didn't have the specific date on here, so we could do this in August, but I wanted you guys to think of, for the September 17th meeting, that would be the second discussion of the financial management plan.
Yeah.
And our financial advisor comes to those, and he can't make that meeting, and he asked, he could make the 19th, so if you guys were willing to move, we checked the meeting schedule was.
I have a meeting on the 19th, and so does Jim.
Oh,
Yeah, I gotta be, it's Viance meeting,
oh,
and I'm the president, so I gotta be
Okay.
there.
And I'm
Yeah.
vice president.
okay.
Okay.
Are you guys supposed to be sitting next to each other?
Alphabetical.
One bullet, that is,
Yeah.
Past presidents.
past president right here, well, you can sit in.
So just move down.
We're
the
looking
line.
for more members, though.
Yeah,
folks.
everybody's invited.
Yeah, okay. Is that a,
I mean, the only other alternative I could think of, and I just feel like the room would probably be too small at the municipal services building to do it on the 18th. I know Greg could make the 18th work.
Is that Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that's municipal court is that night, that's why we couldn't do it here.
Oh,
Um,
or the
That bad?
20th? I don't know. Anybody got a conflict on the 20th?
It's, Deer Grove EMS.
Yeah.
So you're saying is the meeting that we have our law enforcement, that room?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's just one meeting. We could try to squeeze in there. I don't know.
I'll be friendly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the presentation TVs in there, I guess you could use that if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's 11 chairs
We get to
there.
know
It's
each
just
other.
that we couldn't handle anything with the public.
Before that
probably.
would be our
Right.
CBA, right?
Yeah. There's almost something every night. That's why it's.
We could set up Flynn Hall, there's plenty of room there. And we
I've
pay
never
for
been
part of,
there.
we pay for part of the upkeep,
I
don't
want
we?
to go
Upstairs.
Yeah.
Not you couldn't set up in
Anybody
the
can
basement.
go
It's
upstairs.
all partitioned now in the
Oh.
basement.
yeah.
But would the 18th work?
And there's
It'd be
probably
fine
some
for
chairs
me.
there.
Everybody, if we can.
Which date?
The
Sorry.
18th.
Tuesday, the 18th?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, and 6:30, you said, Matt? Same time?
Yeah. We'll
And
we'll put this on the next agenda to
Yeah.
confirm everything.
And that'll be at Public Works then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, gotta write it down all together.
Sure.
Okay.
Thanks for the smileys.
Yeah, put it in red on the agenda.
Yeah.
Put that in there, Troy wrote it down so you won't forget.
To be announced,
So we
yeah.
probably have a motion, a second to cancel the third meeting, and then
Meet on the
we'll
19th.
put the other meeting on the August 20th agenda.
Okay.
All right. All right, so I'll make a motion then to cancel the September 3rd, 2018 Village Board meeting pending any important things popping up in the meanwhile, and take the next meeting scheduled for the 17th and make it on the 18th at Public Works.
One last thing here.
Yes, sir.
I'm thinking it might be, the 18th might be our next Pier Court.
Yeah, but that's at 5:15.
That is true.
Okay.
Skip what I said.
Okay.
15 minutes.
Skip what I said.
Okay, so we're good?
Yep.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to cancel the September 3rd, 2018 board meeting and move the following board meeting to Tuesday, the 18th at Public Works. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. All right, reports from village boards, commissions, and committee. Pure Court.
Well, we met on the 17th of July, and Jay Kiefer was at this one, and kind of like the meeting before, he really praised Cottage Grove for being the best community in the area that uses the Pier Court system on their record. I think if we had the record in front of us, you'd see that there were 38 recommendations, and actual 38 came. Whereas like Madison, you might have only 10% show up, or
Wow.
there was a whole list of them that didn't. So he was.
It's on the last page of the packet.
Is it on the
Yeah.
last page? Okay.
Yeah, these packets are,
Yeah. So the
I like
last.
that report, that's a good way to lay it out.
So the last page, you'll see in there, Cottage Grove 38, and then Madison, the Allied Drive 29, and only 11 showed up. Oregon 15, 11, Sun Prairie 6-3. So we're really above other communities as far as our community member, or people who are recommended to come, actually showing up and taking full advantage of it. And then also the chance of them reoffending is way lower too in our community, which is really good. He stated that the same 5 kids are still on the court, jury court, which means the students just love being on the jury,
Yeah.
being part of peer court. And he sees it as probably one of the strongest things that they're part of. And then he's also talking of, they're also looking into other communities that they can move into. And then Jay Kiefer wanted to remind Cottage Grove that they know that their dollars are being well spent, so that's why he wanted me to brag about all that stuff. We knew that the money's being well spent.
Good.
It's a good program.
It is a great program.
It is, kind of related, but not the same thing, that the law enforcement, not to jump ahead, but we're
Yeah.
participating in that restorative
Restorative
justice
justice.
program, so that's a good trailer for this too.
Yeah, for the 17 to 25-year-olds,
Yeah.
it kind of picks up where that leaves off. Yeah. Good stuff.
All right. Going back here, Deer Grove EMS Commission, there's 2 agendas on there. I'll let, I guess, John and Troy.
So we met on July 19th. The usual suspects were covered. The financials, et cetera, everything's looking good. The run rates continue to be up. And then we moved into discussing, or just update on the emergency agreement with the town of Pleasant Springs. Actually, a member of the board came and asked a few questions just to clarify that, but we still haven't heard back yet. Now they have a little bit more time yet to decide on that agreement. We approved the LifeQuest contract. LifeQuest is our billing and collections organization that we use for EMS. Basically negotiated a better rate with them through the RFP process, with other vendors participating in that. Just gave a quick update on the collective bargain agreement. Looks like that's continuing to move forward with the union. No major updates there, and looks like all the parties are coming to agreement on that. And discussed a few policies that were tabled that need to be tightened up a little bit, that were proposed, so they're giving Chief some actions from there. Reviewed the capital equipment replacement schedule, made some suggestions there, and then obviously that'll feed into the budget discussions in the next couple months. And then we went into closed session to provide the chief with a 6-month review, set the next meeting location, etc. That was the 19th. Troy, do you want me to go through the next one too?
Might as well, sure. I think it's public
Okay.
now, so.
Yep. So then we met again on August 2nd. This is not a normally scheduled meeting. This was to discuss the resignation of the chief and to look for an interim plan, an appointment for interim chief, and that was approved to be the assistant chief, Lisa. She's able to accommodate while we do the search for a new chief for Deer Grove. Set some other parameters around that, as well as an extra signatory for bank accounts. So that was on August 2nd.
Okay. All right, getting back to the agenda. Law Enforcement Committee, we met on the 24th. I'll let Matt, I guess, we talked about a little bit about the restorative justice. I think you're familiar with that, and James, you got your packet if you want to mention that.
Yeah, it sounds like a great program that 17 to 25-year-olds can qualify with the idea that can get their life back on track without giving them a criminal record. There's many steps that have to be approved before somebody can qualify for the program. The arresting officer has to agree, and the district attorney has to agree. So it isn't just a rubber stamp where we're flooding people into this.
Right.
If they're arrested for something, they will be prosecuted unless all of those parties agree that they're
Yeah, the
qualified
only
for this.
caveat is it's not a domestic violence thing. If it's domestic violence, it goes through the regular system.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
correct,
a
Matt?
non-starter there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And it doesn't cost us anything to do
No.
that.
It just, officers got to get trained, but it doesn't cost
Yeah,
anything.
it started on the south side of Madison, and now it's
Yeah.
spreading to other communities, and we're going to take part.
Yeah.
The chief's recommendation.
Sounds like you're kind of looking for a place to meet and hold it. Is that where it's at, Matt? I mean, there's several communities involved, and I think McFarland is involved.
They're looking for more people to serve on the, yeah,
I mean, it's just like any other program, it takes a little time to,
ramp it up.
we have to expand it now. I mean,
Yeah.
We have a small group and it's gotta get a little bit bigger, so once once the structure gets in place, then, all the other municipalities and communities can start utilizing it.
Good stuff.
Matt, this excludes traffic violations or anything like that?
This is more for criminal.
Yeah, I mean, I
issues.
thought if the DA was getting involved, I
Yeah.
understood that, but I was just curious if it was going to be extended to traffic.
I don't believe it's traffic related. I think
This
it's
is
just
not
criminal
traffic.
related.
Do you remember anything about traffic?
And our next meeting then would be August 28th, I believe. Yep. Okay. Reports from village officers, Troy?
No report.
Okay, James?
No report.
Jeff?
Yeah, I talked to Sean, and we talked a little bit about some programs, kind of looking into some youth programs, et cetera, and I've got a pretty strong connection with the COO of YMCA. So I'm going to try to sit down with him, and I just checked in with Sean, and apparently the YMCA doesn't really do any partnerships yet in Cottage Grove, so that might be something that they'd be really interested in. I know they just partnered with Sun Prairie. So we'll see what that looks like, and I'll bring that to bring that to you guys as that goes along.
Okay. All right, Melissa?
Lisa, how did the public testing go today?
Actually, it was the first time I've ever had a hiccup.
Oh, no.
And it wasn't with the DS200, it was with the AutoMark, and it was the memory card. Those machines are getting to the end of their life, as I've talked about previously. So I was on the phone with the county. They are going to be delivering us a new card tomorrow, so I will do the test on that. And it just wouldn't boot, it wouldn't read, and that's just the age of the equipment. So first time I've ever had that happen, so I was a little shocked, because usually it just takes time, but this ballot is a very long ballot, and it's like 5 different elections in one, because it's going to read each party. So that might have been part of the issue. So hopefully tomorrow goes better.
Did anybody show up to watch?
Nobody showed up to watch. It was just me in here working away. The DS200 checked out just fine. If you don't know, what I do is I have a test deck of ballots, and I go through and I purposely vote incorrectly, and then I vote for candidates, and then I send them through the machine, and I tally it on paper before it gives me the paper feedback, so I know exactly what it should be reading. And if the memory stick is programmed correctly, it works out. And I've never had one that hasn't, other than today when it just wouldn't boot up, and that wasn't because of the way it was programmed. But that's what we do when we test the equipment. We're making sure that it's reading accurately.
I'm glad you tested.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we don't need to test it in real life.
No. Gosh, no.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, John?
Okay, I apologize. I was on a vacation last week, so I missed the draft agenda, and the joint Cottage Grove Fire Department Committee met. I can either cover that now,
Yep.
or we
Yeah,
could.
go ahead.
Okay, so we met on July 23rd. We discussed the renewal of the Pleasant Springs contract with the Cottage Grove Fire Department. Chief Jude is working that. It's basically going to be another 5-year contract. Flat fee in year 1 and 1% increase thereafter. So we'll discuss that at the next meeting. The light pole replacement quotes came in at $3,000, and it was suggested that we use the village insurance to replace that light pole that was damaged last winter. The repaving quotes came in $71,267,000, of which we can save $10,500 with the removal of the current concrete. And I don't know if JJ, if you've been contacted regarding that at all.
I've not yet.
Okay.
You did get a heads up from me.
Yes, I did.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
So I think
So
at the
you do
meeting,
know about
I know
it.
about
Okay,
Public
good.
Works possibly assisting with the removal of concrete.
Okay.
The revision to the fire agreement for fire protection services was not available at the meeting. However, Kim gave me a copy of that the following week. So Lee, I don't know if you need to see that before the committee reviews it. I don't know what was presented. I think this has been going on ever since I was appointed to this committee.
Yeah. If you can just send me what you got, because I think I've seen everything, but
Okay.
I can get back to you.
So that'll be on the next agenda as well. Computer network infrastructure, they're slowly chipping away. I think the EOC is a little bit better than what it was. However, we still can't get connection like on the second floor out in the Bay Area. So they're going to be looking at what it's going to take and possibly submit that as part of the budget request. Another item that's going to come in as part of the budget request, because we did respond obviously to the incident on Sun Prairie.
Yeah.
The chief strongly feels that we're in need of a command car at $35,000 to $40,000. But at any rate, he's going to
propose the 2019 budget at the next meeting, which is scheduled for October 2nd.
Okay. One of the things when you were talking about the light pole replacement and then the repaving, is eventually they're putting the lights up on the side of the building, I thought was a good plan. Was that, they're not gonna do
No,
that?
they're not.
Okay. It's just an issue for plowing it, that was my only
This is
concern.
under 12 grand. or
Yeah.
Oh, really?
something.
Yeah.
Just more expensive.
Okay.
And John, I just had a comment on the Pleasant Springs contract, just a suggestion on the, you mentioned the 1% escalator.
Mhm.
I don't know how much they've reviewed that yet, but it might be beneficial to tie it to something like the Consumer Price Index, as determined maybe by like the Wisconsin Department of Revenue. You know, there's, you know, some years it might be 0, but like this coming year, it's gonna be about 225 is what it's projecting for January. Just so it keeps up with the budget going forward.
Also, John, you might want to just ask them, this came up, I think, the first time that we entered into the agreement, and that is, just because we charge them 1%, doesn't mean that that's what the town and the village are going to get charged. Their, you know, their percentages go up differently. And I'm just wondering if some consideration could be given to, well, wait a minute, you know, why isn't that somehow tied into trying to save for the town and the village?
Okay. All right, John, as it,
Hey, just one other question. I think in my calendar, I had August 29th as a potential next joint meeting with the town. I think we kind of threw that out there the last time.
I think we did discuss that.
I
I
don't
mean,
know if that's still.
I'll contact Chris tomorrow and see if they still want, and we can put together an agenda quick. Wednesday, the 29th, yeah.
What would be discussed?
I think we talked about maybe going into budget season, if there's maybe some joint ventures that we can maybe pool money together for, whether it's piece of heavy equipment or, you know, maybe shared parks.
Yeah.
There's pockets kind of right between the town and the village, and, so I personally would want to tie it to some sort of budget requests or conversation.
Yeah, see if they have anything worth having a meeting. Okay. All right, John Williams, anything?
It was great to see everybody out for the community garage sale this last weekend. And for those that went over to in front of Ace there, ate some yummy stuff from the Lioness. That was very nice. Also on July 30th, we celebrated 40 years of service for Deer Grove. Myself, Melissa, and Troy, all the members for EMS were in attendance, as well as a number of people. And the really cool thing was that there were a number of people that actually were there that started the service.
Wow.
Yeah.
Way back when. So it was neat to see some of the old photos and hear some of the stories of how they've managed to kind of patch it together way back then with a shoestring budget and all volunteers. And gentleman from I think it's from the Milwaukee area, EMS, the gentleman that spoke.
Oh, he's the doctor, isn't
Yeah. So somehow associated with the statewide EMS program. So
Yeah.
very complimentary of the service that we provide. So
Good.
just those two items.
All right. Under my name is the appointment of Melissa Radcliffe as a regular member of Deer Grove EMS and John as the alternate, and that's basically a swap, just because of the schedule and stuff, and you're both agreeable to that?
he? Yes.
Okay. All right, at this time, I'll make a motion to appoint Melissa as a regular member and John Williams as the alternate member. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second, motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Lee?
No report.
Okay, Matt?
Under there was a request for information on meeting room use policies, and I just included some information in the packet. One is an article that was in the League of Wisconsin Municipalities about, you know, creating policy, and then just some other feedback, some example policies from communities in the area, and then some other feedback that I received. And as you probably would assume, it's kind of all over the board. It's probably a little bit more dependent on, you know, some communities have libraries or community centers, and I think they're probably more apt to rent out space than somebody that has maybe only, you know, 1 or 2 meeting rooms. So,
Okay.
Have we had an issue with,
no, not other than, it's just not really an issue as much as, like John approached with a, request to use the meeting room with just a meet with neighborhood residents on a weekend in here about school district stuff. And nothing wrong with that, but it was, just kind of brought up, well, we don't really have a policy. And basically the precedent that we've been using is because we don't have a policy, when a group wants to come in and use the space, we've said we don't allow that. That's usually been, during the workday, and this meeting space is our only space, and it's there's impromptu meetings or things like that, and so and if you start allowing outside organizations to meet here, that's fine, but then we have to open up for everyone, and then it could limit
So as long
things.
as we're consistent in how we're allowing
Right.
the room to be used, is there?
It's basically been when
need for
there's-
policy? I mean, is it just creating more
Well,
paperwork and?
years ago, 10 or 15 years ago, this was discussed, and I think it may have been in conjunction with a previous school in municipality, questions, and so kind of went through the same thing, looking up policies and making suggestions to the board. Finally, the board just said, well, okay, we won't have a policy, but for the time being, we won't allow anything in here. We won't let anybody have it. But so it comes up every once in a while.
It just opens up a can of worms as far as, if it's something on a weekend, what deposit do we take? There's probably gonna be additional cleaning, there are coffee spills, just random
Like I said,
maintenance issues.
As long as we're consistent in what we're doing.
Yeah, we don't need
no
a policy.
concern for that then, right? I mean, we're not opening it up on weekends at this point, and we're gonna continue to not open it up on weekends.
Well, we did that's, I guess that's what we're
Sunday
getting
evening.
at is,
I grabbed the key on Friday, Sunday evening, we had probably had about 40 to 50 people here.
Yeah.
Just to get an update on, what the school board plans on doing with potential referendum, and I thought it went out right, but, I think a couple people had asked about possibly taking a look at requesting that a policy be established.
Well, if somebody were to push the issue and ask for, us just saying that it's, we don't do that, but they ask, well, where is it written down, or that type of thing. That's why I think it might be beneficial now that we're a larger community to have something in place.
Whether we allow it or not, just have a written policy.
Right, and I'm of the mind to just have it remain like it is, but just written down where we don't allow it to be used. Just because otherwise we get into a whole other ball of wax or worms or
Yeah, whatever,
ball
right.
it is.
Yeah.
So,
Nazis wanted to use them.
So is this just a future agenda item then?
Yeah, it's just kind of-
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I'm thought.
Yeah.
Why go through?
Future
it was a request from Melissa and John,
We're letting the NRA do
and
it.
so whoever the board wants to move forward.
That's 2 people, 2 members, so.
Yeah.
Not at the same time.
put it on
I'm fine with
future.
putting it on there and
Yeah.
figure out what we want to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we have the background information, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys went, it's a long article, but it seems to be most of the discussion revolves around municipal libraries and community centers, and it almost kind of, it doesn't mention anything about council chambers or village hall. Like, it's almost assumed that, those are needed for kind of day-to-day operations and generally not open for rental. That doesn't mean you can't. But anyway, yeah, we can have the next agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
yeah, thanks for putting us all
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Aaron?
One of the things we'll be looking at the Plan Commission this week is a set of survey questions related to the comp plan amendment that we'll be putting online, but I'd like to bring them in here next time as well to get your feedback on that as well.
Okay. For next agenda.
Think ahead if there's questions you want to ask that.
I actually had a couple more things. If I can
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
rewind.
Rewind.
Some unfortunate news after 5 years. Andrew Day, our cable TV coordinator is leaving us to pursue full-time work. In doing so, there could be some opportunities for some MG students possibly. In talking with the city of Monona and MG, of course, they use their media technology students to record. And it's difficult to fill this type of position because on average, it's 5 hours a week, some weeks none. So it's hard to really find someone. So we're going to pursue that. Andrew's giving, we have another, he's going to continue throughout this month yet. So we should be able to hopefully have students starting the school year. So that's what we're looking into there. And there may have been some tampering or vandalism to our AC units outside. They weren't working today, and our AC maintenance guy had to come in and repair them, so that's been forwarded to the police and they're taking a look.
Did they say what their analysis was, why it stopped working?
It looks like things were stepped on and the conduit was all messed up. And,
Okay.
yeah.
Great.
And then I have some other miscellaneous updates. I have a draft email here that I'll send you guys tonight, so you can check your emails. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Aaron, you got nothing else? Okay. All right, Chief Labor's not here. Matt, anything from police?
No report.
Okay. JJ, I think you had an agenda item here on the streetlights?
I'll be as brief as possible. I just wanted to give the board an update on the Alliance Streetlights. You may recall late March, April, they completed their audit on extra streetlights. Our bills went up. But during that process, we discovered that we were paying a higher monthly rate for ones where there was no upfront payment for poles and fixtures. Mike and I met with Donna Bradley of Alliant on a couple of occasions, and I've been talking to her almost every other day, it seems, on possible buyback. Basically, going back and pretending that we bought these. She actually even sent this just a couple weeks ago, where she went back on the ones that they could prove in their records that we probably should have had developer at least do it, and if not the developer, the village should have been afforded an opportunity that was somehow missed. And she put the pricing in at that time, all the way back to 2002. So anyway, as of right now, they're offering the option to buy back 96 total lights. I think hopefully for the next board meeting, I'll bring total with her, because I'm still trying to go back through developers agreements, timelines in the village when developments happen, and see if we can get more. But it will be, basically, she went through their legal and finance folks, and the offer is going to be sometime late summer, early fall. We'll have kind of one-time crack at saying, yes, we want to buy them back or not. And their offer is 50% upfront, so a lump payment. I'll be working with Matt on what that'll look like, where that could come from. And then they'll just basically say 12 monthly installments to pay the other portion. So right now, when she went through the 96 they're offering us at this point, it's just over $96,000. So it's going to be significant dollars, but that's what, when we have an actual agenda item for consideration, I'll have basically the payback time too.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's going to be really quick, because we were paying significantly more on those ones that didn't have that upfront payment.
Right.
So just wanted to give you an update on that, and a quick update on TDS. We met with them 2 weeks ago with 6 or 7 people and their subcontractor that'll be handling complaints, supposedly. And they have a copy of our right-of-way permit, but I haven't heard anything yet. Heard today from what I anticipate was a subcontractor they reached out to, just wondering what they could do to get out in front and be ready.
Yeah.
And talked with the foreman about how we're going to be probably having one person on locates non-stop once they get here.
Yeah.
It does seem like we're probably going to be perhaps utilizing Mike or MSA's help when the permits do come in. It'll depend on how big they are.
Yeah.
Basically, I may be reaching out for some extra set of eyes when I'm used to one.
You talked to some other communities. What was their response like?
I know Oregon is spending significant money with that. I don't know if it's their permanent engineering firm, but with an engineering firm to basically handle all the permitting, and they're having extra inspections done too.
And then we pass those costs back to them?
Well, I don't believe they are in Oregon. McFarland, I spoke with their assistant director, and he says as of right now, they're just just handling it as they come.
I would assume that, I mean, we would, because it's a bad precedent that
Yeah.
you can't really pick and choose. So if they really balked at it and then stopped the project, we'd just
Figure
invite them to
we'll
come
work
and talk.
together, but-
We'd invite them to come back and talk to you guys about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Okay. On the lights that we're buying, I'm sorry, going back to that, is there any way we can tie that $96,000 to a TID or a TID that's in the black?
I mean, I
Look
guess-
into it if you can.
Yeah, I mean, potentially, I mean, lights that are actually in one of the TIDs, we can look at the project plan and see, but,
Or near it. Or if the light will cast down on the TID. I'm good with that.
50%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so people know that we have now revised the developer agreement, so we make the developer pay for this at this point, as soon as we found out about it.
Well, and that's the case with them,
Thing, right?
it's back and forth with them too.
Because that's a lot of money.
The case could be made that
That's
the language is always there,
Right.
but
$100,000.
it seems like the folks at Alliance, everybody at vast miscommunication, I suppose, between developers and Alliant and the village. But I think that, at this point, they've been working on this pretty well. See if we can get some more.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, communications and miscellaneous business, discuss and consider approval of vouchers. Any questions, comments on vouchers?
I had a question about what's a televised sanitary sewer
That's
on
a,
page 6.
That's-
I don't want to know if that's on YouTube or what.
I could actually shortly, I'll be able to bring it right up and show you if you're interested in any particular section.
I figured it was something like that, I just wanted to make sure.
That's our annual televising
Yeah.
of our sanitary, so we're looking for defects, ruts,
Yeah.
leaks, things like that. Yep.
Okay. I wouldn't mind seeing that, actually.
It's-
I'm on Public Works, I probably
You have a
should.
low bar for
You
entertainment.
know what, that's not, about 5 minutes into it, you're gonna decide that it's not.
It's all
I
right.
thought it was really gonna be cool, but I was wrong.
You gotta get paid.
yeah. Anything else?
Is the computer magic, is that every month or is that like just a one-time thing? Guess maybe I missed it.
That's our IT people, right?
Yeah.
yeah, that's, I believe that's monthly, yeah.
The display sales on page 5 for the spinning bull with silver ball on top?
Yep.
What's that?
That's
Where's that?
the flags from the American Pride campaign.
So,
We had to replace, we had no spares for one that was broken. We needed some poles, anyway, that's the,
didn't they have a fund?
they did, and Deb, I believe, knew how much was in that, and I believe that's coming from that
Oh, okay.
until it's depleted. I think this was, this wasn't gonna take it all, I can't remember how much was left there.
Yeah, so the IT, just a quickly back to that, so it's about 36,000 a year, so we had looked into a full-time position for that, for this size community. Probably expect to pay 60-ish thousand plus benefits, so that, we're just not big enough yet to look at that.
Last thing I saw is for the safe step, page 10, the repair 143 sidewalk panel displacements. Was that like for property owners or?
That's the grinding?
Yep, that's the
Yeah.
grinding, and most of those are, 50% of those will be coming back from the property owners. Some of the ones on ramps or on village properties aren't, but basically 50% will come back.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything? Okay, if not, I'll make a motion to approve vouchers as presented.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the vouchers. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Correspondence, I have nothing official. Upcoming community events, I know the Music in the Grove is still doing things. I'm not sure when the next one is. Anybody else have any? Okay. All right. Future agenda items?
Yes, stuff the bus.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, and Marketplace Days.
Yep.
August
Phase 2.
7th.
Okay. All right, future agenda items, we had a couple, I guess, from Matt. One was a policy and one was, I can't remember what the other one was.
We're gonna meet with the town.
Oh, yeah.
29th.
Oh, I'm gonna find out from Chris if he wants to still meet with us on the 29th.
And one other thing, I met with Jeremy Holliday, he's the new president of the Wisconsin Rugby Club, and, you know, he's been reading the developer, or the agreement that obviously has not been followed, and wants to come to the board and discuss, discuss getting that back on track.
They're coming in on Wednesday, right, for plan?
Yeah, that's just a shed building they want to build out there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think he told me about that, yeah. That's
So-
not the main thing, but,
So that would give us an opportunity to at least raise the issue and, you know, say to the planning commission, well, this is kind of where we are, and the board will do the same.
yeah, okay. So,
And Greg Johnson will be here to get feedback from the board on the financial management plan, the update of the plan. So it'll be a review of where it's left off from last year.
Right.
With potential updates from department head staff built in there, and then so you guys can review it, provide feedback, and then the board meeting that we were talking about doing at the municipal services building a month later,
Yeah.
and that's when we could, you know, finalize things.
Okay. All right, anything else for future agenda? Okay. All right, anybody want to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn, non-debatable. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you.